The Republican Party is facing a critical juncture. A deep divide has emerged over the future of green tax credits. These credits, a key part of Biden's Inflation Reduction Act, have sparked a fierce debate within the GOP. On one side, a growing number of Republicans see these credits as essential for American energy independence and economic growth. On the other side, a vocal faction aligned with former President Trump denounces them as a green new scam. This internal struggle is reaching a boiling point as the House Ways and Means Committee finalizes the tax component of the GOP's massive spending bill. The outcome of this battle has significant implications, not only for the GOP's legislative agenda, but also for the future of American energy. The decisions made in the coming days will have far-reaching consequences for our economy, our environment, and our nation's energy security. At the heart of the debate is a fundamental question. Should the government be in the business of picking winners and losers in the energy sector? Should we be using taxpayer dollars to prop up industries that may not be able to compete in a free market? These are not easy questions, and there are strong arguments to be made on both sides. The outcome of this debate will have a profound impact on the Republican Party. A failure to reach a consensus could lead to further division and gridlock, potentially jeopardizing the GOP's legislative priorities. Moreover, the party's stance on green energy could alienate key voting blocs, particularly suburban voters who are increasingly concerned about climate change. A key point of contention within the GOP is the future of nuclear energy. Many Republicans, particularly those representing districts with nuclear power plants, view nuclear as a critical component of a clean energy future. They argue that nuclear power is essential for ensuring grid stability and meeting the ever-increasing demand for electricity. Nuclear power, unlike wind and solar, provides a constant and reliable source of energy. It's not dependent on the whims of the weather. This is crucial as our nation faces growing energy demands from data centers powering artificial intelligence and a resurgence in American manufacturing. Proponents of nuclear power also highlight its economic benefits. Nuclear plants provide high-paying jobs and generate significant tax revenue for local communities. Moreover, they argue that maintaining U.S. leadership in nuclear technology is crucial for national security and global non-proliferation efforts. They point to the success of existing nuclear plants and the potential of next-generation technologies like small modular reactors. These advanced reactors offer enhanced safety features and can be deployed more quickly and cost-effectively than traditional large-scale plants. Another contentious issue is the future of the IRA's transferability provision. This provision allows developers of clean energy projects to sell tax credits to other companies, providing a critical source of financing for these projects. Supporters argue that transferability is essential for attracting private investment and accelerating the deployment of clean energy technologies. Without transferability, many clean energy projects would struggle to secure financing. This is particularly true for smaller developers and those working on innovative but as yet unproven technologies. The ability to sell tax credits to larger, more established companies provides a lifeline for these projects, enabling them to get off the ground and contribute to a cleaner energy future. The transferability provision has been instrumental in driving the recent surge in clean energy investment. Since the passage of the IRA, over $165 billion in new clean energy manufacturing investments have been announced, with a significant portion of these investments flowing into Republican-held districts. These investments are creating jobs, boosting local economies, and strengthening American competitiveness in the global clean energy market. Eliminating or weakening the transferability provision would send a chilling message to investors, potentially derailing the progress that has been made in building a more sustainable and resilient energy system. It would also undermine the GOP's efforts to promote economic growth and job creation, particularly in rural communities that have been hit hard by the decline of traditional industries. Section 4. Green New Scam or Economic Engine. The battle lines are drawn. The debate over green tax credits has exposed a deep ideological rift within the Republican Party. On one side are those who view these credits as government overreach, picking winners and losers in the marketplace. They argue that these credits distort the free market, propping up industries that would otherwise fail. This faction, often aligned with the Tea Party and the House Freedom Caucus, echoes former President Trump's rhetoric, labeling the IRA a green new scam. They point to the failures of past government interventions in the energy sector, such as the Solyndra scandal, as evidence of the perils of government picking winners and losers. They argue that the free market, not government mandates, is the best driver of innovation and economic growth. This faction is deeply skeptical of climate change and the need for government action to address it. They argue that the costs of transitioning to a clean energy economy outweigh the benefits, and that such a transition would harm American jobs and competitiveness. They believe that the focus should be on unleashing American energy production, particularly oil and gas, to achieve energy independence and lower costs for consumers. This group favors a complete repeal of all green energy incentives, including tax credits for wind, solar, and nuclear power. They argue that these credits are unnecessary and distort the market, giving an unfair advantage to certain industries. They believe that the government should not be in the business of subsidizing any particular energy source and that the market should be allowed to determine which technologies succeed or fail. Section 5. Red states, green jobs, the economic impact of clean energy. On the other side of the aisle are Republicans who see green energy as an economic opportunity. They argue that investing in clean energy technologies will create jobs, boost the economy, and enhance American competitiveness in the global marketplace. This group points to the significant investments being made in clean energy manufacturing in red states across the country. They highlight examples like Ford and SK Innovation's $6.5 billion investment in Tennessee to build electric vehicle batteries and solar panels. These investments are creating thousands of good-paying jobs in Republican districts, boosting local economies, and demonstrating the economic potential of clean energy. These Republicans argue that embracing clean energy is not about picking winners and losers, but about creating a level playing field. They point out that the fossil fuel industry has benefited from government subsidies and tax breaks for decades, and that it's time for clean energy to compete on a level playing field. They believe that the government has a role to play in supporting the transition to a clean energy economy, not by picking winners and losers, but by creating a level playing field and providing incentives for innovation. They argue that the IRA's green tax credits are essential for attracting private investment and accelerating the deployment of clean energy technologies. They point to the success of these credits in driving down the cost of solar and wind power, making them increasingly competitive with fossil fuels. They believe that continuing these credits is essential for maintaining this momentum and achieving a clean energy future.